Hello there. Welcome to this Caregiver Coffee. My name is Matthew Estrad. I am a gerontologist in St. Tammany Parish, and I've been partnering with the Council on Aging in St. Tammany for over 10 years. All of that time as a caregiver support group facilitator, and half of that time bringing you this Caregiver Coffee that you are here for today. Make sure my timer is on so I don't have a super long video. Thank you for being here. Today, we're going to offer part two of elder abuse. So looking at the signs, the motivations, how to recognize it and what to do. So hopefully you got to see the first video, elder abuse part one. If not, you can watch this and go back to that one, or you can pause, go back to the first one. So it's really just up to you. Makes sense to go to the first one, but you're here, so you can stay if you feel comfortable doing that. So when we left off, we were looking at an article from the NIH on elder abuse. We were looking at signs of abuse. So we will finish this article that I will, of course, link in the description, and and then there's two other resources. One's from the Department of Justice federally, and then one is here in Louisiana from the Adult Protective Services, some information is, and especially how to report it, who reports it, etc. Before we get into that, just very briefly, I'll keep it brief because I gave you my spiel in the first elder abuse video at the beginning, but as a caregiver support group facilitator, I facilitate those sessions for Coast every Tuesday evening, or most Tuesday evenings of the year, unless it falls on a holiday. We go from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. The first Tuesday of the month, we're in person in Slidell. The second Tuesday of the month, we're on the Zoom platform. The third Tuesday of the month, we are in person in Covington. And the fourth Tuesday of the month, we are online. And if there happens to be a fifth Tuesday of the month, well, we play that by year and we make announcements if Coast wants us to meet. So the best way to keep in the know, to stay in the know, to be in the know of the support group is to join our email list, which you can do by going to coastseniors.org and then going caregiver services, finding my picture. There's a link. There'll be a link to a PDF, which is our bi-monthly flyer/calendar. So yes, we refresh it every 2 months, and you'll see the locations, you'll see the dates, you'll see if anything had to be moved because of a holiday, and you will also see how you can join the email list. And we have over 100 people on the email list, and most of them are not attending each time, so we probably have 6 people in our group every week. So you can be, all that to say, you can be on the email list and not feel any pressure to join, participate, etc. But join when you can, and you just show up. You don't need to sign up or anything like that. All right, thanks for listening to that. All right, so continuing our discussion on elder abuse, which in the last video, just as a refresher, hundreds of thousands of older adults, that's 60 and up, experience this. And in this video, we'll also get into who's doing it. And this is data from the U.S. Department of Justice. All right, so who can help? And again, I'm jumping back to the NIH article. If you think that someone is being abused physically, emotionally, financially, sexually, if you feel like they're being neglected or they've been abandoned, talk with them when only it's you and that person, if that's possible. If you think you'll say something wrong, you could say you think something's wrong and that you're worried, and kind of see if they'll fill in the blanks, if they'll talk. Most importantly, if you suspect someone is being abused, reporting it, what you see, to an authority is very important. Many adults are too ashamed to report their mistreatment. They're afraid that they make a report, that it will get back to the abuser and it will make the situation worse. Therefore, families and friends must step in to address any problems. Here are some options. There's Adult Protective Services, and I'll actually give you the number for the APS in Louisiana. This is a national number that they give you. There's the National Center on Elder Abuse, and then there's also the Long-Term Care Ombudsman, who's an advocate for those who are living in assisted facilities, nursing homes, etc. And they can be reached. I'll find that for you also, um, in addition to Louisiana APS. Caring for an older adult can be rewarding, but it can also be very demanding and very stressful. And caregivers under stress may not realize that they're being abusive or neglectful. If you're a caregiver, make time to take rest and take care of your own needs. Spread out the work, get other people to help you. These are things we talk about in our support group, like finding help, like the stress that's involved. People might say, I yelled at my loved one. That happens. We all, kind of get frustrated. And then in the next moment, we realize we did something wrong, but we hope that and we apologize. But in the support group, we talk about that kind of stuff, like how do we keep our stress level down? How do we get more help, whether it's friends and family coming in, whether it's the church coming in, whether it's hiring someone to come in, but just that break so that we're not stressed. What is the long-term effect of abuse? Most physical wounds will heal in time, but elder abuse can lead to an early death, cause harm, and physical harm and psychological harm, destroy social and family ties, and lead to financial devastating loss as well. Any kind of mistreatment can leave the person feeling fearful and depressed. And sometimes the victim thinks that the abuse is their fault, especially if the abuser tells them that. Adult Protective Services can suggest support groups and counseling that can help the abused person heal from these emotional wounds. So I'm glad they mentioned that, because there's a lot of healing that would have to happen after such abuse is uncovered and dealt with, stopped and dealt with, and then prosecuted if possible. All right, now I'm going to jump over to some other great resources that I was able to find. This is from the Department of Justice. So we really didn't get into this in the NIH article. So that's why I want to kind of use this to fill in some gaps. So what are the causes of elder abuse? Ageism. So, treating people differently, and especially in a negative way because they're older, maybe because they can't contribute anymore, maybe because maybe they're seen as lazy when they may physically not be able to do as much as they were before. They may be ill and not be able to do anything. They might be a burden to that abuser. Societal attitudes. I think there can be lots of societal attitudes that older people are just a burden and they don't produce anything, and they have less dignity. And these are all things that are obviously very wrong and inhumane. Stereotyping of seniors in the same way, and just lack of awareness. Other causes of abuse might be intergenerational violence, a history of domestic violence, a feeling of entitlement, and I talked about that in the first video. The family caregiver who thinks, okay, well, I'm doing all this stuff for mom, and my siblings are not, and all they do is criticize me, and I'm giving up time at work, I'm using my vacation time. So they kind of justify in their minds, okay, this is why I'm going to loan myself some money and I promise I'm going to pay it back, or this is why I'm going to use their credit card, or I'm going to make myself the beneficiary of the life insurance policy. So, these are just examples. I can't name everything, obviously, but it can be easy for someone to feel out of entitlement that they're owed this. Even if they're not the caregiver, if they're just an heir to things, an adult child or even grandchildren are capable of doing this. A history of mental illness of the caregiver or of the older adult, and certain addictions like drugs, alcohol, gambling. Where am I going to get all this money? I just gambled away this money, or I just spent this money on alcohol, or I need money for drugs. These are all things that can happen. Here are some statistics on the perpetrators of elder abuse. So, uh, as a whole, of 100%, 57.9, so let's say 58%, over half of perpetrators of elder physical abuse are family members. 17% of the perpetrators of elder physical abuse are friends and neighbors. And then the remaining 15% of physical abuse, elder physical abuse perpetrators are home care aides. So 60%, I'm sorry, 58% family members, 17% friends and neighbors, and then 15% home care aides. And that is really scary to think about the family, the friends. I mean, all of it's horrible, but to think about, this happening in a home where no one else can really sense what's going on. So it's, those who are interacting, if you're interacting with older adults, especially, someone going to the doctor's office, nurses and doctors and social workers, hopefully will see those signs. Um, so preventing older abuse, so there are ways to prevent it. Listening to older adults, not ignoring them or not sort of brushing off any kind of complaints, even if they're not really clear about abuse. Just why are they withdrawn? Why are they rocking back and forth and uncomfortable? Intervene. It's so important to intervene when you suspect it. You can call APS. You can call the ombudsman. The ombudsman if it's inside a facility. Calling the police to do a report or even to make a welfare check, to watch for signs and to get involved. Tips for older adults. Keep your financial affairs in order. Keep them organized. Stay connected with others. Call for help if you can. Get a civil restraining order if needed, file criminal charges, get a cell phone or pendant alert, and watch out for others who may be abused, especially if if they're in a care facility, they see other elders there, that there's that opportunity for that. And something I do want to mention, it's not in here, but the aging body does bruise more easily, and skin does tear more easily. And it could be easy for someone to be tempted to say, "Oh, well, um, they probably just fell," or to hear from the abuser, "Oh, yeah, my mom fell. That's why she has the bruise on her neck," when or face. But bruises only happen in certain places, when you fall. And it is true we bruise and our skin tears and everything, and that could be the case. But it's really not up to us to have to carry that burden of proof. We just need to have a suspicion in order to make a report in goodwill. So I would encourage you to not brush off your suspicion, your intuition that something might be wrong. Um, uh, and even if it might offend somebody, that a report was made. Let the authorities investigate it and let them figure out and let them rule out other things, because they are the experts and they've seen this and they know exactly what to look for. They know physically how to examine and what questions to ask. So I'd encourage you to not ever brush off something saying that, oh, well, that person has dementia. They don't know what they're talking about. They're confused. It's the medication that they're on, or they're going to bruise easily, or their skin is going to tear um, anyway, or they're going to fall, things like that. So don't make excuses for abuse, for things that could be abuse. And now I'm on the Department of Health for Louisiana on the Adult Protective Services. And I will share this information in both videos, the description of both videos, the website, the phone number. It's just really important that we have this. There's more information that I didn't even get to go over, but I would think that a lot of this is going to be repetitive. But I wanted to read this couple of FAQs, and I know I'm kind of going along even with this one. One question is, who is responsible for making a report of abuse? Due to or the APS services, the APS reporting law, and there's an actual statute number requires all Louisianians to report abuse, neglect, exploitation, and extortion of adults with disabilities. This grants immunity to any citizen who reports in good faith and who cooperates in an investigation with their protective service agency. This law also provides criminal penalties for persons who know of incidents and fail to report or who knowingly make false reports. So it is really our duty that we have a suspicion that we make that report. And there can be penalties if we don't make that report and something's found later. Do I have to give my name when reporting? No, you do not have to give your name. However, providing your name and contact information will help the investigation, help them build evidence, help them, give them clues for that. But there might be ways for you to be reached without giving your name. And then it goes through what information do I need to report, what happens after reports are made, how do I find out the outcome, and how do I get a copy of the APS report. And on this are actual email addresses for the director of APS and the other team members here in Louisiana. And I'm going to go to the Ombudsman office also. And I will share the information. I will share this information in the description of both videos because the ombudsman is going to be someone who you talk with if you suspect there's abuse or you have complaints inside of a facility. It may be that you contact both APS or the ombudsman, and it may be safer or more prudent to do both and let APS let you know that you need to call ombudsman or just the ombudsman is enough. So, all right. Well, thank you for sticking around for these two videos on elder abuse. I hope that you've not experienced before or seen it. I hope that you never do have to deal with it. But just with how society is and how tempting it might be to exploit someone especially by someone who feels like they're justified in doing it or is burned out, it's likely that we might see it. So we should expect that we will see it sometime in our life and we'll have to face this, and just that we have the courage to do that, to make that report in good faith and to make good prudential judgments in just reporting it and knowing that we're going to let the authorities investigate it. And all we really need is a good faith suspicion that something is happening. So, and also protect yourself and protect your older adult loved ones from that, from these, from abuse. We didn't talk about cameras. Cameras can be, it was not mentioned in any of these websites, but cameras can be a good idea if you have a professional coming into the house. You can even, I believe in Louisiana, there's even a law that will allow you to provide a camera, set it up, etc. A facility must allow you to, unless the law changed or changes, a facility must allow you to put in a camera, but you have to purchase it and maintain it. I think you might be able to be on their Wi-Fi, but check into that because that could be something that might be helpful for you if it's done the right way, because it could also build distrust with the care worker. So you need to be. I'm not saying don't do it for that reason, but it just it can be a delicate situation. So use your prudential judgment, use all these safeguards, and report if you happen to see abuse of your loved one or anyone else. And if you're a caregiver, make sure that you're availing yourself to breaks, to support groups, and other things to reduce your stress. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for paying attention to this and the previous video and all of our caregiver videos, all of our caregiver coffee videos. Thank you so much for spreading the word so that we can all age in place in a very healthy way. Take care.